everybody, it's Sandy Diana, and I just thought I'd make a real quick video. I am making some scrub caps today, and I thought, all right, well, I should videotape myself while I'm making this, and I already started making one, so I've already got one of them is partially made, and I'll try to, I don't know how you do this, wrangling your camera with one hand. But anyway, she's going to have a shamrock one for St. Patrick's Day. And I've got it partially made. But I thought, all right, let me videotape this before I do it. So this is the top part of your head. And then this is the band that goes around. And I've already pre-serged this portion of the band. And then I have my two strap pieces. So I'm going to let you watch me as I make this. And I do pretty much all of the work on the serger. So I'm going to just set this camera up and let it just kind of watch what I do. And this is really easy. And I'll tell you what I do with this. The people that I normally just use, I buy all of this fabric to make masks with, and then I let people choose their, if they like a scrub cap made, they can choose from my fabric that I have already listed. So here's what I've done. This is the band that goes across around your head. So I pre-serge this before I start, and then I take and I fold this in half to where this is going to be the natural halfway point. And I don't know that I got that just right. But anyway, I'm going to fix it. I'll notch that again. And then I notch it right there where the center point is. And then I take and I do the same thing with the scrub cap part, the part that goes on top of your head. I fold it and then I snip it. And then I meet the two together. Now, you know, it's hard when you're actually doing this because you really have to walk it around the top of it. And so that's what I'm going to have to do. But I meet these two in the middle, and I actually start sewing from the middle. I don't start from one end, and I found that if I do start sewing from the one end, then what ends up happening is it's not going to meet, and the one side's going to be way longer than the other side. So you don't know if you can see what I'm doing right here, but as I'm doing this, I have to kind of like move this with the curve to keep it to go along with the straight side. And I go pretty slow right here, just because you want to keep the edges to edge to edge. And the only way to do it is that you have to walk it around your cap, because you're working on a curve the entire time. Now, I do keep my cutter in place, and I cut away the extra, and because it is allowed for a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And even still, I still kind of end up getting kind of off. But then I pick it up, clip it right here, and then I flip it over and I start from the middle again. So I start right back at the middle, and I'm going to start serging from the middle, because you have to walk this curve all the way around a straight piece. So it's easier if you do it this. To me, it's easier. If you can figure out a better way, that's good for you. But I haven't figured out a better way to be able to keep myself straight and on the curve. Now on the other side though, this time I have the straight on top and I have the curve on the bottom. So I still have to work both pieces of fabric at the same time, and your goal is to keep the edges together as you stitch. And then once you get around that main curve of the front of your head part on the skull cap, then it's pretty fast. It's pretty fast going from that point on. And so I'm going to just skip through this. And that's what came out just right. Now, right here. And then I come back and I trim this to where it's straight, and I serge this part. So let's do that. So I end up making it straight whenever it is. And then I need to switch sewing machines. I do like to go to my iron and press it. I like to go to my iron and press it. I realize you probably couldn't hear me because of the loudness of the serger, but I'm gonna walk over here to the, here it is. And I just like to press down the seam in the middle. And I'll just move my camera to where you can see the next step. All right, so the next step, I've already got my camera nice and hot. I'm not sure how much you can see of this. But this is kind of tricky because I just like stick my iron in here, and where the natural part of the curve is, I try to work it around that direction. I just feel like it looks better if it's been pressed. Of course, I didn't pay attention to that. And then I'll come this way. And I just kind of walk myself around it. All right, now that I've done that, then I'm going to fold this over, and I just eyeball it because there's no, I just want to turn it to where it's just like enough of a hem. There again, you're still working on a curve. And the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you're consistent with your measurement. And then I'm going to top stitch this down. Okay, so that's that part. That's that part. And I have a nurse that she likes my scrub caps, so she's always buying them from me. And here's the other one. Oops. Uh-oh. I have a leak in my hose. So, you guys just learned what happens when you get a leak in your hose. Let me turn the power off of this. This is a high steam iron. And yikes, I need something to put the water in. Oh, if I can reach, I got a jar right here. This is a professional iron, and it's the kind of iron that they use at the cleaners to get that high professional steam. I've had this since I started making curtains, and after so long, the hose, as you can see, will deteriorate, and I popped a hole in it. So it's not a big deal. Okay. Might need to get a pair of scissors. Yep. You just want to snip the rubber, and it just wears out over time. Not a big deal. You take it off, clean it up. I already turned my water off, and you can see that it's kind of like messed up right there. So it's got like a, I'm going to cut it even further down to to where I have a better integrity of the you just work it back on there. And it basically self-seals itself to the edge of the iron. Push this back down to keep it in place. And clean up your mess. Turn the iron back on. And I'm going to just let it sit on this water and dry up this water that I've just gotten all over my table. So that's what happens when you have a situation. But this is a high steam iron. It has its own IV bottle, as you can see right here. And I just keep it filled, and it's constant steam. It is so hot. You don't want to get yourself burned from it. So anyway, we're back in business. All done. So I'm going to continue. Whoops, you might want to clip this off of your inside of your cap. Trim that off. That would bug me if that was left on. And then I'm going to finish ironing this one. Now I'm going to sew the straps on the serger and turn it inside out so that I can see what I'm going to do. Okay, so this is my Brother SE 400, and it is an embroidery machine and a sewing machine. So what I did was I took off this portion of the machine, which is the embroidery base, and I switched out my foot and I put the regular sewing foot on it so that I would have that. I need a new bobbin, so I need to wind a new bobbin. And I know a lot of you have talked about thread stands. Well, before thread stands existed, or before I knew about them, someone told me to use a mason jar, a wide mouth jar. This is an old pickle jar. So I just put it right through that pickle jar and let it roll. And I don't really have a problem with my thread. So I'm going to wind my bobbin real quick. And you can see it just comes right on out of that thread, just like it would be in a thread stand. And it doesn't get caught up on anything. But this is a dual thing. It's a really nice sewing machine. It's the Enthusiast. And it will stop on its own. And then you just put your bobbin in. I always like to pull it around that part. And let's see if I can show you my threader. If my threader will work correctly. It's pretty foolproof as far as threading. I don't usually have any problem with it. But you do have to follow all of the pieces all the way around in order for it to work correctly. And there it goes. Voila. Now, I'm going to set it up on a stitch right here that I know is for sewing elastic. And it's this one right here. And I'm going to use that one for sewing the elastic. And, oh, I did forget to tell you, I like to shorten that a little bit to like 4. And I leave it like about right there. You need 2 pieces of 9-inch. Is it 9-inch or 6-inch? 6 inches of elastic. So I already have some that I like to use. And I like to use this wider stuff. I got some elastic, and it's kind of gray looking. It's not really white, but even so, I still use it. Okay, so 6 inches. I have a cutting mat right in behind there so I can measure real quick. And then you do have to stretch your elastic as you do this. So I'm going to put this, and you're going to, and I always like to sew it on this side. And then after I've done that, then I'm going to fold that in place. So I'm going to start from where my fold is, where I pre-ironed it. I don't want to start right there at that edge. And I want to start it right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and sink my needle into it so it won't move as I'm trying to do that. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so then I'm going to start pulling this. And the reason why I sink my needle is because if you don't, it will pop right out. But I probably should go back and forth. Yeah, because it's already trying to pull out. I'm pulling on it too far already. So let me get a couple stitches in it before I try to pull on it. Okay, now it's in there. Okay. And also you've got to pull from behind a little bit because you pulling the elastic makes it want to stay. So I don't know if I can do this or not and use both hands for you to be able to see. It's hard to videotape like this. Let's see if you can get a better angle of that. I don't know if you can or not. I don't know if that gives you a good angle or not. If I turn that down, maybe. You really need it. You really need it from where my view is. Let's see if you can get it from my view. Stack you up on top of a couple spools of ribbon. There. left over, but I still stop at that one point. Straight stitch. And then you have to do the exact same thing. You have to stretch out this elastic, and then you're going to do a straight stitch this time. I do find that when you're doing the same item, multiple things on the same item, it's easier to go ahead and do the same steps at the same time instead of trying to do one from start to finish. I always do the same steps. If I have to do this with this step with that one, I'll do this same step with this one, if that made sense to you. Mostly because your brain is conditioned, it's already practiced doing this, so it already knows what to do, rather than stopping and starting. Now, okay, and that's what it turned out to look. So you don't really see that zigzag stitch. That zigzag is all on the back side to where you don't really see it. All you're going to do is see that finished stitch on the back side of it. Now what I do is I'm going to attach this where this fold was, where I pre-folded everything already. And actually I'm going to start on the other side of it. I'm going to start on this side because I'm going to top stitch it now. Trying to think about that. Doesn't really matter. You just want to be consistent. Okay, so I like to try to go back and forth on this strap because that's where your connection is, where you're tying, and you want to make sure that it's nice and secure. So I do that a few times before I start top stitching. And then I'm going to start right there, and then I've already pre-ironed it, and I like to try to stitch it wherever this serging is because it's kind of already got like a line for you. It's a natural line, and as you notice, it just flows. And I just try to make sure that when I put this strap in, it's doing the same thing as it was over here. So that's all that matters as far as matching that up is concerned. Do it there. Don't forget to do the same thing over here because you want to make sure that these straps don't come out because they're going to be tying them back and forth. And you want to make sure that they stay in. All right. That's that one. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one.
Right there on top of the moon, we could sit and do nothing. I wish we were bold to just fly away. I don't wanna care, just be here and I'm good alone. I'll be okay, miss you like an old friend. Too scared now, thinking I should call up all night. I think it's hard how we always wait another day. How we watch things that can't just walk away. Let's live down by the...
Okay, so all I'm going to do now is snip it up, clip it up, I don't generally put my labels in the scrub caps. I guess I could, but I have never done it before. Just make sure I've got all the threads. And then this is the way I fold it, to where I fold it like this, like it's a little bonnet. Put my straps on it. And then I fold it like that one more time. And that's the way I'm going to package it. Come back over here. Make sure that you've got all the things
on. To like sail away. I just don't wanna care. Can you be here and I'm good alone? I'll be okay, miss you like an old friend.
Thanks. I hope this helped. And it's just a basic scrub cap pattern. I don't even think I paid for it. I think I got it free off of the internet. So look for your pattern. They're very simple to make. Thanks. Bye.